Hi. Hi, good morning and assalamualaikum. My name is Ahmad Arshad and you are watching to this topic. So a quick introduction. To this topic is actually a newly initiated by UMCCed to have our webinar series at least monthly or weekly. We look forward to it. But if anyone who are familiar with UMCCed webinars, we had previous webinars in our YouTube channel and also in our Facebook. So you can check it out in our archive where we discuss more about programs in the UMCCed platforms. We have our diploma and diploma executive, and also previously we discussed with 30 minit bersama UMCCed where our lecturers discuss about the diploma education and also our newly campus in the Bachok Kelantan. So the initiative of today's topic webinar series is for UMCCed to uphold our vision. Our UMCCed vision is actually to be the center of excellence in terms of continuing education. So we want to use our platform to reach out to mass audience to discuss about societal issues and everyday issues. So it can be anything, issues that we want to discuss for UMCCed to be the platform of discussing the problems of the society. I keep repeating that, but yes. With me today, we are going to discuss about making your side hustle. It's a little bit simple topic, but this is actually an everyday issues that we heard a lot of people doing this. So we want to get more insights and more discussion and probably debate on how these things are going. With me are two pretty young lady, Nadia Nasir and also Mai Fatin. I probably talk too fast. I'm going to talk slower. So, Nadia and Mai is actually an everyday people just like us. They are working 9 to 5 and also they are picking their side hustle as their main income. This is to combat economy issue basically. So, hi ladies. Oh, this is
Hi.
big.
Hi.
Okay, let me do my introduction real quick. I specifically chosen this topic because the discussion of picking up two jobs or side hustles have been in the society for quite some time. So specifically in the 2016, I'm going to quote our ex-deputy minister of Ministry of International Trade and Industry, Ahmad Maslak. He said that Malaysians have to pick two jobs to address the issue of high living costs in Malaysia, and especially millennials like us. I suppose both of you are still young. I am still young. We have been trying to cope our lifestyle in this everyday life with the rising cost of economics, and if you're gonna have our family, working one job is not enough per se, because our 9 to 5 job are not very sustainable. So before I get more to it, I'm going to introduce Nadia and also my Fatin. Nadia is a talent manager and also part-time makeup artist. That sounds bougie, right? And also my Fatin is a baker, a florist, and someone who working in the hotel industry. So I think I give it to Nadia first to introduce more about yourself.
Okay. So hi everyone. My name is Nadia. I was studying in UM as well. I was in the English literature. I was in English literature when I first started makeup. So right now I am working for a talent management company, but I am still doing my makeup gigs at the same time. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
What about you, Mai? I think mine start again.
Oh
Okay, I'm
no.
stuck. Can you guys hear
Okay.
me?
Okay. Now okay.
Okay, so I used to study in College Professional Mara before. I'm taking English communication. Right after that, I started working in hotelier line at Keshurina Meru in Ipoh. So I started this job as a hobby actually. So do I have to explain more from here?
Yeah. Actually, continuing to that questions because you already started you picking up your side hustle as a hobby or per se that it's your passion. So I can suggest that it's inspire you to continue your floristry. How does the journey start?
I mean, it started back in 2009. 2016. I
Uh,
went for my friend's graduation, and during that time, we are still unemployed and we don't have any money to buy all the bouquets. So I tried making myself from there lah. I mean, the business.
the business started to grow. She's stuck.
Yes, I'm stuck again. I'm so sorry to
Okay,
be like that. So
okay,
yeah,
continue, continue.
after that, I started to like people would like. I mean, the first, it was my friend circle who starts order from me. So it's grow from there.
So per se that since 2016 until 2021, it have been 5 years you have been venturing
Yes,
into this
yes.
bakery and the floristry. How is your business going on right now? How is
I
your
mean,
business looking like right now?
actually, I started only with the bouquets, flower bouquets and
Mhm.
chocolate bouquets. But then recently, I started to promote my cakes. Last year, I only sell one type of cake because most of my customer ask me whether I have a package comes with cakes, which is why I
Mhm.
start baking. But I know it's been long journey because it's been 5 years. But
Mhm.
I have to say that my business.
Sh- You stuck.
Oh my.
Go back at least 5 seconds.
Okay, I mean like my business has been good recently because maybe because of the new package that I've included in with the cakes and bouquets, so people have more option. And I have to say that it's overwhelming, even though currently I'm working in hotelier and it's been pretty affected.
Mhm.
But this side job actually helps me to gain more than I.
You expected.
Yes. So
Mhm.
yes.
Okay, actually, we are going to focus more on the pandemic issues after this, but it's a quite interesting insight that you give there. We'll go to Nadia real quick to give more introduction of your business because Nadia mentioned that she picked up her business during your study in University Malaya. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So you pick up your business during your study years or how?
Yes. The first time I started, well, I didn't start off professionally immediately. It started off really small, like from word of mouth, usually. Like, oh, can you do makeup? Like, oh, we have this play coming up. Oh yeah, I can help you do your makeup. Oh, there's like five of us. Oh, okay, I can maybe charge like $50 per person. So that's how
Mhm.
things started off. Like, yeah.
Mhm. So both of you per se that working in the something that is you're passionate about. So let me rephrase this question a bit because from what we heard that Nadia picked up her side hustle before picking up her 9 to 5. Am I correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and Ma, you pick up your side hustle after you pick up your 9 to 5.
Yes.
Oh, this is I think this is very interesting views because some people have their 9 to 5 work and then they pick up the side hustle just to top up that financial stability, right? So I think the golden question here is how do you manage your time and energy? Because having two responsibility, that's number one, but also having an energy for your family, for your friends, doesn't it get a little bit overwhelming, Nadia?
Yes, it can get very overwhelming actually. Like, especially when I was doing makeup. I mean, outside of the pandemic. I mean, well, technically, when we're not in lockdown, basically.
Mhm.
So it was really hectic. It was back to back clients. Basically, my weekends are filled with makeup. Mostly the mornings and the afternoons. But like that's basically work. Mornings and afternoons just gone. Like that's your day.
Mhm.
It can be tiring because that would also mean that I'd be working 7 days a week. But
Mhm.
at the same time, I find it fulfilling also because that is what I wanted to do. That's what I like doing. So I find
Mhm.
satisfaction in also doing it as well. So it doesn't feel as exhausting in a sense. Like it gives
Mhm.
back to me as well. Yeah.
Mhm. It gives back to your passion. It fits your passion, right?
Yes. Yes. It keeps.
And what about you, Mai? Does it get overwhelming? How about you managing your orders because you're working 9 to 5? So
Yes.
do you do deliveries or how does this thing goes?
I have to say that at some point, um, of course, macam kita, it's when it's too overwhelming, like we don't have, we need to manage our time, and we need to have like enough rest, whether the is it worth it or not. So I normally will accept any orders at least 3 days before their booking date. And also, since I'm working 9 to 5, I normally after work I will start baking if I have orders for cakes or bouquet, and then the next day I would, if I'm working, if it's the delivery is on weekdays, I'll arrange a Grab service for the delivery.
Correct. I understand.
So that's how
So,
I manage.
because both of you are employed 9 to 5, so does your employer know about this? Because okay, let me just put it out there. Fun fact. So in 2016, when Ahmad Maslan said about working two jobs and encouragement of combating the living costs, Malaysian Employer Federations come out with a statement that they don't support this statement because it's gonna deteriorate the quality of 9 to 5 jobs, right? Because you are going to give your attention divided, one on the 9 to 5 and also one to this your side hustle. So and also it comes back to many issues such as depressions, not having enough time with families. It's challenged the family quality time, things like that. So does your employer know, and how do they react to this? Nadia.
My employers are well aware of it. Like, it was actually written in my resume as well, so it was never a secret. But it also helps that I work in the creative field, so they are more open and accepting, and they encourage stuff like this. In fact, I am very privileged to be a part of like a team who encourage each other to like have their own passions outside of work. So yeah, I guess I'm really privileged in that sense.
What about you, Mai? Does your employer
Um,
know, and how do they react to this?
my employee does know about this, and for me, I mean, as long as it didn't affect my 9 to 5 jobs, I mean, they're okay with it. So they really doesn't mind. In fact, some of them even apa cakap,
Support.
yeah, support my small business, and they even pay me more sometimes for the service that I'm providing. So yeah, I'm pretty thankful for, I mean, for them not stopping me for my side income. So yes.
So another question that tricks in my mind when you guys were answering, when you both girls were answering these questions, does it create conflict of interest in terms of, because both of you are working in the line in the art line, but say that Nadia as a talent manager and also a makeup artist, does it sometimes like your boss asks, "Oh, can you help make up my artist for free?" or things like that, and also maybe your boss asks you, or can you arrange a bouquet of flower for the buffet for free for your hotels, things like that? Does it create a conflict of interest between these two jobs? Maybe Mike can go first.
Um, in my case, no, actually, like I said before, even if they want, like they will actually pay for it. So they never took advantage of the service that I'm provided, even though like I have talent in that. So yes.
What about you, Nadia? Because I've seen your work, your resume. You have quite impressive for celebrities you you get in touch with. So you're quite out there in the makeup industry. So does your employer take advantage of that?
First of all, thank you. But second of all, no, they do not take advantage of that at all. If anything, I think they are encouraging and they would like, support me. Um, but I can understand how that could be a problem with other people, like in different situations. But I also feel like that's why it's really important to have and create boundaries for yourself, and like, learning to say no and etc. Because knowing that your work has value. So, like, yeah.
Correct. So back to the questions of like, because you were saying that of creating these boundaries between you and your employer, and I think like but in terms of like per se, you are working with a talent, right? You're working with your personal artist, and then you are voluntary. Let's say you voluntarily make up or attend your artist for the sake of your job. So how would you feel, like how would you feel, because it's it's a payment back to your talent and also your resources.
For me, those are all really subjective because there has been multiple occasions where I have willingly made and like offered people to make them up for free because I feel like the moment that it's like me who offers it's okay. Like
Mm,
yeah, because
understand.
being taken advantage of and offering your service for free as like a form of like appreciation is completely like two separate things. So it should not be compared, in my opinion. Yeah.
Correct, correct. This also come into the questions. I always have questions, by the way, about about when you say you giving your service as a form of appreciation, right? uh, it's also meaning that expanding your networking, right?
Yes.
Because when being nice to people is making rapport and also expand your networking. Especially both of you needed networking. All of us need networking as our business pioneer to pioneer our business. So
Mhm.
I think questions to my how far this business uh, expand your network for your jobs or your personal interests. So how far does it expand your business?
I mean, how far does it expand my business? I
Mhm.
mean, in what way?
In terms of like when you when you because Nadia have been exploring her business by word of mouth. She started first her business by word of mouth, and then things with working with word of mouth is like I relay this information to certain of people, and then that's how Nadia specifically ventured into make up some celebrities and things like that. So how does this because uh, I'm trying to be very objective, right? Trying to be very objective that because Nadia is working in the Klang Valley, so it's easy for her to get her network dispersed. Compared to you, you are working in Ipoh, where it's a very smaller community and very smaller market. So how do you penetrate this networking market?
I feel like at first, my business was expand same like Nadia. I mean, from mouth to mouth. But recently, I've been updating my social media frequently so that everyone can know about my business, and it's been well for the business because
Mhm.
I have people who approach me outside of Ipoh area, which is like I
Uh,
say, since it's pandemic, so most of them cannot find place. I mean, or service that could send to their family or friends. So that's how they find me. Especially, I only have social media platform by the way to expand my business. So I'm using hashtag, and I think that it really helps in terms of expanding my business. So I think that's how they find me and how
get
my
to know
business
you.
grow. Actually, yeah.
What about you, Nadia? Because specifically, I think in terms of makeup artists, you really need a good word of mouth to get your work
Yep.
relayed. Yeah. So does it really matter for you to engage with famous people for you to get your business going, or how does it work?
It really helps. um, I feel like with networking, like at first you got to start small, right? You got to start with the people that you already know, right? But like
Mhm.
the thing about makeup or like any services actually is that like I personally feel like when you when you really put your heart and like effort into it, like people see that, and it translates well to your work, and um, people will approach you. Uh, but first you have to work really hard for it, of course. But like it works both ways. Like you're not just constantly like reaching out to people all the time. Like yeah.
Mm,
So if anything, I feel like I needed to network to get like to the right people for makeup, but also makeuping like itself has helped me network even more. Like does that
mm. Yeah,
like
meaning that let me like rephrase this if this makes sense. But the quality of your work is actually networking itself.
uh
Yeah.
yeah, but well, yeah, it helps.
Because like mine specifically have been wow, she's very close to the camera. Okay.
I'm
um,
sorry.
Mine specifically have been venturing in this in baking industry for 5 years, right? How do you see this going in the future?
I mean, for the cakes, it's only been starting since last year, but for
Oh,
the bouquet, yes. Uh, sorry. How do I see myself in 5 years?
yeah. No. How do you see yourself in yeah, in the future with this side hustle? Do you see this side hustle is going to take over your main job? Because a lot of people actually, if you go through this is a little bit reading that I've done, a lot of people who are picking up side hustle and that side hustle starting to become their main income, because side hustle are getting paid more. That's number one.
Yeah.
And also people started to talk about the narrative of becoming your own boss, right?
Mhm.
Because some of us doesn't want to be doesn't want to be tied in terms of corporate world. You know, 9 to 5 job. They want to work free outside of working hour, and also be able to have their own decisions and be able to have their own voice. So, are you seeing that as one of your future to be, making
I
your side hustle as your main income?
mean, I have like this one um, thing that I want to achieve that
Mhm.
can relate with my current business, that I wanted to open a cafe which includes service of flowers and cafe and dessert, which means people who came to my cafe, they can enjoy mm, stuff like that, and also they could surprise their family. And besides that, I
Mm.
would like to also expand my business, not just in cafe but also to other place. Like I'll still proceed with the delivery and surprise all, but I also have a place because currently I'm
Mm.
like only doing it at home, a good place, you know. Am I stuck again?
Yes, you are. But it's okay. But I think you get the essence of your point when you said that you want to expand your business into a
Yes.
more tangible
Yeah.
community, right?
Yeah.
And also we are trying to say this out loud. When you were saying that because as your introduction said, you working in the hotel industry and basically tourism industry in the pandemic are going really really
Yeah.
bad. Does this business really outweigh the main job? Because we, like you say, you are looking forward to open a business, so I mean a serious business, so you are looking forward for it to become your 9 to 5 jobs, right?
Yeah.
So does the income now is aligned to create that goal, is in the line to create that goal?
As for now, like you said, like you clearly know that company cut our salary due to the current economic pandemic and stuff. But I can say that my business is going on really well, that it could increase my income rather than from the company that I receive. So I believe that
Mm-mm.
if I fully focus on this and I actually have the team or the right marketing strategy, like I could do more, and I could even quit my 9 to 5 job and focus on this thing instead.
Mm-mm.
So that's
What
how I.
about what about Nadia? Because specifically, you started your your side hustle before you finding your 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
Meaning that you have been able to sustain your life for quite a while without having 9 to 5 jobs. So what makes you find these 9 to 5 jobs? That wasn't this side hustle is already enough?
Yes, it was enough. But I cannot lie. Like being a freelancer comes with its pros and cons. You are more flexible with your time, but
Mhm.
uh, in terms of stability, it's not always the best. Especially because I'm just starting out with everything. Like I'm fresh out of uni, so in that sense, I would like to have a greater sense of stability, and I feel like a 9 to 5 provides that for me. So yeah, my 9 to 5 job is also like I love working where I'm working right now. I love my job, and I feel like it also gives me the opportunity to still pursue my passions because like the flexibility it gives me and stuff like that. Yeah.
So when you talk about passion, that's a very, for me, interesting word to put there because both of you are actually picking up your side hustle, doing the things that you like, right? But when I say like working two jobs, I don't want to romanticize it so much because people sometimes working two jobs just to put the bread on the table,
Yeah.
right? Because their 9 to 5 jobs aren't enough. The Malaysian are very famous about we have very low income and our cost of living are keep climbing, but not our salary. So it forces millennials like us to have two jobs and drop our social responsibilities such as families, friends, just to make enough money.
Mm.
So, but it's very lucky. I would say that both of you are picking your side hustle because of your passion. Some people are picking their side hustle not necessarily the things that they like. We've seen a lot of people who are working 9 to 5, but then after working hour, they will just pick up an Uber or Grab. There was Uber, I don't anymore. They will just pick up Grab just to make enough money, right? So, what would you say to that, Nadia? What would you, does you really think that basically what would you say?
Excuse me?
I mean, what would you say about this romanticizing this
Or
two jobs?
I feel like it's not always the same for everyone. Clearly, it's very subjective. I myself am speaking from a single fresh graduate like perspective where I am still privileged enough to be living with my parents, so I don't have to think as hard about like where I live and like if there's going to be food on the table. So I feel that that itself has led me to be more adventurous with my career. It gives me more room for risk, you know.
Understand?
I somewhat know I acknowledge the safety net that I have at the bottom there at the end of the day, but I understand that not everyone can be as privileged to do that, especially if you have a family, especially if you're the one who are expected to provide a home. So I guess like when times get rough, like you do what you got to do to just get by, and hence why people work as Grab drivers. Like it's honestly very it's not it's so good to see people doing their best. It's just sad that it has to come to that.
Understand. Yeah. And I also wanted to point out that how both of you are working in an industry that are very crafty per se.
Hmm.
I mentioned this with Nadia previously in our discussion where we talk more about vocational skills because we've seen a lot of in Malaysian education system we have vocational schools. I come from vocational schools. So where my major was we call it pengaturceraan computer or basic computer programming. So Island C, C++, Java, web design, and things like that. And there are a lot of courses like that, like makeup and also baking, culinary, florist at a vocational school where you go from 4 to form 5 and then you take your SPM. But the thing about education system in Malaysia, the narrative around vocational schools are very, I would say, sour compared to STEM per se.
Yeah.
So, what would you say, Nadia, about that? Do you think vocational is the way? Do you think vocational school is a key to open opportunities to side hustles or jobs?
Yes, I really think so because when you go to vocational schools, you learn more like practical stuff. Like it's a more niche thing, Like it's more narrowed down, scoped down. You get to focus on like building your talent, building your skills. And I agree with what you said about like people romanticizing STEM and like making vocational stuff. Like how growing up, I always hear like, oh, people who don't do well in school end up in vocational schools.
Mhm.
And I feel like we should destigmatize that because like that person, like their IQ doesn't have anything to do, like, to determine where they should go in life. Like, why is vocational school like a bad thing? Like, if that's what they like to do, a person can be smart and still choose to do that.
I actually want to bring our attention to one of a very famous influencer. If you guys know Carol Aming.
Mm,
Yeah, Kara, I know this is very famous, but I want to talk a bit about his background, about how he's actually a scholar sent by Petronas to US to major in engineering. But at the end of the day, he picked up culinary as his main income career, right?
yeah.
And how he is making business, he's making $1,000 just because of being influencer and involving in the culinary sections. So we want to talk about more about how these brilliant people are actually picking up vocational skills or soft skill as one of their Maya, are you okay there?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. This is why working from home are being very natural. People are like all around us.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway,
Like my mom wanted to come in. I said no, I'm in the middle. Okay, continue please.
okay. Also, Maya, how do you see um I wouldn't say influencer lah, but I will say like how these brilliant minded people picking up soft skill or vocational skill as their main income.
In terms of
What in terms of like because like I said, Carol Aming is a very brilliant guy. He is a scholar, went to US for engineering major, but at the end of the day, he picked up culinary as his main uh, income job, and we would assume that culinary is a bit vocational or soft skill jobs, right? So do you think this brilliant mind like Carol Aming is a miss in the industry?
I believe that, I mean, how do I say this? Even though like he has a good background education, right? But he chooses to be influencer in promote in doing culinary as his first job, and I think that he gained more income money than any jobs in Malaysia would offer, and he actually have talents in. I mean, he loves cooking.
Every time she speaks, she stops.
Mm.
Should I just stop
Okay,
talking?
continue.
Okay.
You were saying?
So like he loves cooking, and as you can see, like every Malaysian kids, like they learn how to cook through Cairo Aming's video because it's easy and it's delicious, and you can also see his skills in editing the video. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
normal punya level of editing tau. Like it's very, I think it's very smooth, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
Correct,
like
correct.
it's a bad thing for
Mm.
looking out such.
So I have some question to Nadia. Do you think Cairo Aming is a miss gem in the engineering industry, especially when I say that he is a scholar from Petronas, meaning that he is a very brilliant mind that being sent abroad. So do
Yeah.
you think when he venture in culinary, a more vocational sector, it's a miss in the industry?
I don't like to look at things that way, because, like, when I said about people being able to be smart and also having skills and talents in other fields, like, I feel like it applies to him. I feel like he is great at both things, but he shines more in what he likes to do, and it's very apparent, So I don't feel like you have to take away from something to gain something. Like, how do I phrase this? Like, you don't have to put one thing down in order to uplift another. That's what I'm saying.
That's a very good way of putting that. Yeah,
Yeah.
correct, correct. So I think it's very interesting when you said that we don't have to undermine his capability in the engineering sector just
Yeah.
because he ventured in the culinary sector. It's a very two different thing. Since we are here, this is not in our questions, but since we are here in terms of influencer topic, what do you think influencer as a main income? Okay, I gain your attention. Here there's one TikTokers that I personally follow. His name is Dr. Benji. So
Mm.
he is a dentist, but also he's a TikToker and Insta famous with his good looks and also his content, right? So he is making side income both ways, as being as a TikToker and also being a dentist. So what do you think of, you know, does a TikToker deteriorate your value as a dentist or as any professional settings? What do you say, Nadia?
I don't think it takes away from him being a good dentist at all. Like, if anything, it makes him a better one. He knows how to communicate with audiences better. He therefore knows like people's worries and like and not only that, I feel like he also helps spread like word around about what he does. Like myths about teeth or something like that.
Mm.
Like it levels it out a bit. It makes people not fear it as much, like, oh, okay, these things are not as complicated as we thought. It makes people more interested to know about it. Like, if anything, I feel like all these social media platforms like serve as like such a great platform for people to just learn more and more every day without having to like pick up a
Being
book.
being
Perfect.
formally educated. Yeah, correct. So, Mai, I have a question for you. What do you think influencer as career? Do you think it's a tangible career though? Because I think that's a question because I think millennials like us, we engage a lot with influencer come across our TikToks, our Instas, our Twitters, and things like that, and they are making monies of it out of it. But how do we explain to our parents or grandparents, and they was like, oh, Ashad, what do you do, huh? And I was like, oh, my 9 to 5 job are TikTokers. So how do we explain to all the generations about how we making money? So what do you think, Mai?
As like your main job, it's not really a bad idea because they actually gain a lot money and lots of money. I
Mm-mm.
mean, like some certain product they even send apa we call as PR package to promote.
Correct, correct.
I think it's quite hard to explain to the older generation about how this influencer things work, but I mean, as an influencer, you also have to be like a good role model. Like you have
Mm-mm.
to spread good things lah actually, not just in terms of product, but since influence tu macam you like a public, what's the word?
Mm-hmm.
Apa cakap sekarang?
Public figure.
Yes. So
Mm-mm.
macam they need to show a good example lah, not in terms of everything.
Mm-mm.
So
Understand. And I think it's I just want to say it's equally important for you to be formally educated and also informally educated at the same time, because where in the world we live with certificates, right, as our benchmark, specifically. So meaning like Nadia, she graduated in from University of Malaya, graduating with bachelor's of degree of English literature. Am I correct? Yeah,
Yes.
so she's using her English literature degree as a ticket to get her talent manager job, right? But also things that I want to focus in is about picking up soft skills like makeup skills or even like culinary skills. These are also as equally as important of picking up certificates.
Yeah.
Correct. Because that's how the world revolves around. We need two talents because one talent are not enough for you to stand out in the community, right?
Yes.
I think that's all for this our discussion today. I think because I wanted to highlight about how making a side hustle doesn't have always to be stigmatized. Because when we read a lot of articles, especially with comments previously by some minister about picking up side hustle are a hassle basically, because people have to choose between mental health or making more money, because nowadays the industry keep forcing us to make more money just to put bread on the table, especially in the economic situation like this. So I purposely wanted to do this webinar because I wanted to put out there that sometimes making side hustle aren't very bad anyway. You know, it's just something that you can do under your breath and make it easy, like how Nada and Mai are doing. It is out of the passion, and I want to also to highlight how important for us to pick up our interest in various stuff. With that, I think I end our discussion today, ladies.
Okay.
First and foremost, yeah, thank you so much for having us, for joining us today. I think it's a short but very insightful discussions. I'm glad to have you here. Um, Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you so
you for
much
Thank
again.
having me.
you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Basically, like I said, the purpose of having this today's topic with me a discussion is to discuss about societal issues that happening around us. It doesn't have to be a very serious issue. It have to be. I want it to be the issues that you and me and everyone else are having, but we want to have more discussion on this matter. Also, to highlight on that, when I said about having a certificate degree, our UMCCed is actually already open for executive diploma application and also diploma application. So you can head over to www.umcced.edu.my to have more insightful on that. This is actually in line to have our discussion today about how our diploma students, a lot of them are actually making the side hustle. So we want to have more insights of this industry. But specifically, next week on the 27th of August, at the same time 11 a.m., we are specifically going to discuss about work and study, about how students are working at how students are studying and also working at the same time. Next week, we are going to have Puan Karunisa and also Arisha Rozaidi from the industry of sales.com. Puan Karunisa is our UMCCed lecturer and Arisha Rozaidi is a writer to have their insights to discuss more about work and study next week, 27th of August. Like I said, you can venture in our www.umcced.edu.my to get to know more about our executive diploma and also our diploma programs. We are having a great savings now, 10% off for blended learning and also 5% off for our remote learning. Like I said, to get to know more information about that, head up to our website. I think that's all for today. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week.